Hello, my name is Purity. I'm a proud trans lady and a trans refugee from Uganda, now in Sweden. And you are welcome to hear my testimony, my life story, and I hope you get some inspiration from it. Let's do this.
Before we start this video, I would like to tell you that for this video only, there is a possibility to watch the full story as told by Purity. So if you have 40 minutes that you want to spend with Purity, please head over here and watch the full version. But now, back to Purity.
My name is Purity Paige. I'm a proud trans lady from Uganda. I am a social scientist by profession. I am a model, an actor, a mental health champion, a human rights activist, and just a girl trying to figure out her life and her future.
But before we talk about the future, let's start from the beginning.
I was raised in the most homophobic and transphobic community back home in Uganda by Christian parents, and I'm still sad that Christianity religion has caused way so much pain to us and broken our families, because my parents and the entire community were taught how to hate us through religion. They always told me when they discovered us trans, they were like, you know, God hates it, and that's a curse. We have prayed about it and it seems not changing. Can't you try to change? You are bringing shame to us, and we love you, but we don't know how to love you when you are carrying such a curse.
And she started to believe in this herself.
Since I was raised in Christianity with strong Christians, then I also at some point thought I was actually a curse. I never enjoyed my childhood, and that doesn't mean that I was raised in poverty. My parents were middle-class family that could raise us and take care of us and stuff like that, but I wasn't. I was just raised confused, always trying to fight my own self and to please my parents and the entire community around me.
And school wasn't a safe haven for her either.
I was always bullied by other students, and my parents were very specific to take me to a boys' school because they wanted to raise a boy and to instill those traits of boys and raising a man. So at school I was always bullied. You look like a girl, you behave like a girl. I did not know that I was like how these words came, like, you know, transgender, homosexuals. I didn't know nothing about that. I just knew I was different. Until when I was in high school, then that's when I got to know these words, you know. And when they were expelling students for practicing homosexuality in school, they began with me. Like, yeah, it must be that one. That one behaves like a girl. And I'm like, wow, I wasn't even having sex with nobody. So I was thrown out of school. And then I was in papers. So when it went into papers, it was obvious that everybody was looking out for who is this so-and-so's child and stuff like that. And now my life really started like becoming difficult, because then my parents told me, what you just did is what we've been talking about when you are a child. You cannot be practicing homosexuality. And now you are mature, you are an adult. Because I think I was like maybe 16, 15. You are now an adult. If you continue doing this, we shall just cut you off, because we've prayed enough. And see this shame, we are in papers everywhere. So try to be careful. If anything like that happens again, my father told me that I'll be the person to kill you, because I don't want to carry the curse of homosexuality in my family. Then I went to another school, then I was again bullied, and then gladly I was a brighter student. I don't know how I used to pass school, because with all that, but still I was a bright student. So then I made it to university, and then my parents were like, you know, we have taken you to the biggest, best university. Go there and make us proud. But at that point, I was getting to that point where I feel like I want to die. because now I knew who I was.
Because when the papers had started writing about her, LGBTQIA+ human rights activist had started reaching out to her and introducing her to the community, and she had started figuring out that she was a transgender woman.
So then I started like getting jobs. My parents connect me to jobs. Then I go there for 3 months or a few months, and then they just throw me out when they get to know who I am. Until another organization that I worked with, and then the boss wanted to kill me himself when he got to know that I was trans, and he was a Christian, a priest, and a white priest. Moreover, the group of pastors that came to Uganda to preach the gospel of either kill them or pray that they vanish. You know, so much hatred coming from church.
There was not only a hatred, but also danger for her physical health and even for her life.
I was being haunted and by the church itself, because I was thrown out of church by my pastor, and now the entire community was looking out for this person just to kill me, because that's what they were doing. Because back home they kill you and nobody gets to know, or they kill you and nobody cares. So when they hear that there is a homosexual that has died, people in church and Muslims, they say hallelujah, God has answered our prayers.
It was obvious that she couldn't stay.
And then now I had to run away to Kenya, because Kenya is just across the border, and I had to seek for protection from UNHCR, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. But when I went to Kenya, I discovered I had run away from the hot pot to the fire. Being a refugee in Kenya is like the worst thing that has happened to me. For the rest of my life, I'll never forget the 5 years I was in Kenya as a refugee, because it was hell. By the time I went there, I thought UNHCR could like protect us, put us like somewhere safer. No, they put you in the camp with other refugees who are also way too homophobic and transphobic. It's an open space. You go there and you have to build your own small shelter in a wilderness so far away from civilization, where even like now homosexuality is like unheard of. Then you don't get the basic needs. So now I came from way so much privilege when it comes to finances and upbringing to hopelessness.
But in the camp, she got to know some other transgender people, and together they moved to the capital, Nairobi.
By the time I came to Kenya, there was no like CBOs, community-based organizations for refugees, LGBTQ refugees. So we started creating them. We started like creating like safe houses where we stay.
But the other LGBTQIA+ people that they lived with treated the transgender people unfairly.
Fellow LGBTQ persons in our own safe houses could tell us, stay indoors, never get out, otherwise you're creating insecurities for us. And so for us transgenders, we were told you can't even like get out and go to the street. So imagine there is a moment we spent like maybe a year, you can't get out. Even when you have to buy something, somebody has to go there and buy it for you. So we were in prison, and then for me at some point I just got tired. I'm like, I ran away from Uganda to be myself. Now I'm just inside the house.
So Purity left the house and started demonstrating outside UNHCR in order to get their protection. But the police would come to these demonstrations and arrest them. So Purity was sent to prison, where she experienced abuse and even torture.
I don't know, I reached a point where I got used to pain, because we've been beaten every day. But if you go to my feet and my back and my stuff, you'll be amazed what you see. There are thousands of wounds, rather scars, thousands. I reached a point where they could just like, I could just see blood, like they come and, with batons or with knives, with whatever it is, splashing cold water on us and, torture, and I could just see blood, but I could not feel nothing. My body had become too hardened that I don't feel no pain.
But after Purity had gone through all that, UNHCR finally did their job and came to her rescue, and she ended up in Sweden.
When I came to Sweden, I was like, hallelujah, I have arrived. I was so happy, excited.
But that initial excitement didn't last very long.
The excitement starts going a little bit down when reality hits in. You know, then that's when I discover that, oh, people here also struggle. I now start meeting people, and then reality hits in, and then I discover it's also not easy to be trans, black, and a new immigrant in Sweden. I am a hopeful person. My heart told me, Purity, you have to be resilient and live in Sweden. This is your new safe haven. But I've been trying. It's very difficult because, for one, when you get here, I think there is a label they put on refugees. You must not be having skills, you must not be educated. And then, of course, when you're black again, black immigrants are treated way much differently from white immigrants. And everybody told me it's going to be a struggle. You're going to just go out there and you get the dirty job, that's all you'll get. In your next 10 years, don't expect your degree to work here. It's not going to happen. But I told myself that, you know what, Purity, don't live your life in fear again. And that's what keeps me going. When there is an opportunity, go there, chase it. So if you ask me what I do everything. I am also a social scientist, I'm a model, I'm an actor. I can do so many other things. So don't just look at my sad testimony and forget that I have skills and stuff like that. I've been here for 1 year and I'm already figuring out so many things. You know, I am acting, I now work with Aisha, the president of Black Lives Matter. I model there as well. I go speak on events and lectures and stuff like that. Should I say it's easy? No. I don't know where this girl gets her strength also.
Strength is also something you need when you approach the gender healthcare in Sweden.
And now I have my transitioning journey. It's also depressing because back in Kenya, I was taking hormones through black market. I get to Sweden, they tell me, no, you stop the hormones, you wait for 2 years. I go back to zero. I withdraw symptoms of not taking the hormones. I mean, like, then the entire journey of doing research and investigations, I'm like, you're investigating what? I am here because I'm a trans person. Your government allowed UNHCR to bring me here because I was trans. That's enough investigations.
And even in a few years' time, when Purity will finally be able to continue with her hormone therapy, she still has some concerns.
The hormones I'm taking, I'm not even sure whether they are meant for a black body. When they were doing research, did they put in mind that there would be black bodies? When they were doing research findings, how many black bodies were tried on these hormones and how many weren't? I mean, like, I have so many questions, and then I know I need them, but then I'm like, are they even meant for me? I'm genetically wired differently. I am black, my body is wired differently from a white body.
And she also has some final thoughts on how gender identity relates to colonialism.
Back in Africa, those days we used to live better lives before colonials came and messed us up. Because if you asked me, what's your gender? And I say, I'm a translady. What if that is not even my gender? What if my gender is black? Because it can be anything. You know, I just don't want somebody to give me a word that is meant for them, because, you know, these are English words formulated and stuff like that, but I'm not English, I'm not a white person. So if you tell me such kind of word, I would say, I'm proudly black, that's my gender.